Hey everybody, Brent Florica here, and welcome back to Sketchbook B in our new studio space. So excited for this. I spent a long time getting together. Really happy to have you join me for some art and creativity in this space. I had a recent opportunity to do a commission piece that I was really happy with. I got a chance to build on my skills a little bit. So I thought I'd share it with you, highlight some parts of the process. Let's jump in. We begin with the most boring and unfortunately the most critical step of the painting process, which is flatting. But you do this right now and it saves a bunch of time later. I basically have one layer on the bottom that has like all the building, and then I build up on top of it with essentially a mask layer so that I can't paint outside of what I kind of outlined the building with underneath. And that's very helpful when going through this process and just designating areas of color. I made good use this time, and I'm increasingly doing this, of the lasso tool and just the selection tools that are available in Clip Studio Paint. There's just a lot of good stuff there. I'm starting to work on the background stuff, like this tree in behind the house. I'm really enjoying trees lately, and I'm actually gonna put out a separate video on my process for doing trees, because I've kind of unlocked something lately with Clip Studio Paint that I'm really enjoying, and it's turning out really well, I think anyways. With all of this stuff, I'm increasingly trying to get away from that just straight comic book, like everything is outline vibe, and go for something a little more realistic. I'll call it stylized realism, where, you know, from a distance it looks quite realistic. If you were to zoom up close, you would see that it's not like I individually paint every leaf or, you know, every brick or whatever. You know, it's trying to create the illusion of detail without actually spending the time to add every little detail. I'm not going for like hyper realism here at all. So I've been exploring how to do that, and one of the ways, like there's a grass brush, which is fantastic in Clip Studio Paint. It adds a little bit of differentiation in color right built into the brush, which is super helpful. Then, you know, adding in shadows is the next step, and that I do on a multiply layer over top of the color stuff. I usually, since I'm going for like a sunset kind of golden hour sunlight in this one, I went with a purpley color to kind of, you know, complementary colors, right? Yellow, purple for all the shadow stuff. So right here you can see it's very, very vibrant, but I tone that way back. Sometimes it's helpful to just have it at, you know, full visibility when actually laying out where those shadows are, but then afterwards I always like pull back the opacity on that layer so that it reduces how much of that intense saturation of purple that I see. And usually I find that works pretty good, because right now it's like, okay, yeah, that purple's not jiving, but once you pull back the opacity, it really makes a big difference, and it kind of ties together. There's warm in the light source, there's cool in the shadow areas, and it adds a little bit of interest and depth to the piece, which I am trying to kind of go for more and more as I develop my abilities. Also, just want to give you a little reminder here. Feel free to like and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy the stuff that I'm putting out. Obviously, there's no pressure to do that. I just appreciate you spending some time even to watch this video. So no pressure to join the channel or anything like that, but I do appreciate the support very much for those who do. And I'm really grateful for all of those who are showing support for my artwork and responding to this creative passion of mine. It means the world to me, so thank you. Also, if you're wondering why I have this random blob of purple up there, I just found that
I would be working on the shadow layer, then I would move to something else and come back to it. But by then I'd drop the opacity already on the layer, so then I have to go back to the layer, bring it back up, color pick that color. So I figured, you know what, instead of having to constantly adjust the opacity back and forth on the layer, I'll just put a blob of purple right there in the middle, so I can just color pick from that whenever I want, and I don't have to, you know, constantly adjust the opacity of that layer to get that color again and then see how it looks by dropping the opacity. I'll just skip that back and forth. So that was actually super helpful and a big time saver for me on this one. Next up is lighting. So yeah, this is fun. I experimented with the color dodge layer this time, and this was kind of like lighting, I'm finding, is really key to adding some dynamic flair to a piece. That color dodge layer with like a nice bright yellow just adds that beautiful like sunshine glow effect there, and I thought it was just really nice. So I'm gonna definitely play more with that later. And of course the clouds. I've been using the cloud brush mostly of late. I'm hoping can give me a nice blend between realism and stylization. Then last, so you can see I'm working on roof textures here, adding the illusion of shingles. Again, this is another one of those cases where I'm not trying to draw like the lines of each shingle, because that would just look weird. So I'm using just kind of like a rough texture brush and just giving the illusion of some roughness on the roof that would replicate the look of shingles. And you know, it's when you're looking at it from a distance, right, it gets the point across. It looks like shingles, it looks like a rough roof, but if you zoom up really close, you would see each individual blob is just kind of a blob on that surface, right? But that's why I like the illusion of detail. It saves a lot of time, and it's very helpful though to get the point across quickly and convincingly. So at this point, I'm just adding in some of the details for the board and batten, like the siding, and all that remains is just to do the landscaping, and we have a finished piece.
So there you have it, folks. Fun little project. Hope you enjoyed the result. Let me know in the comments if you did. Thanks for spending some time with me. I really appreciate it. Until next time, take care.